I'm still not even halfway done listening to that super long song from Nano Cyborg Uber Holocaust. I'm an hour into the song and I'm not even close to being halfway finished. Yeah, there's this one song off of one of their albums that's 7.5 hours long, give or take. Oh, you're not even close. But I also heard that some or all of their songs, if you can call them their songs, are actually just other metal songs that are pulse stretched to like some ridiculously slow speed. So they're just super long. Or like the key is also changed. And then they call that their own song. I will probably do so after this seed is over with. I heard that the song off the album I'm listening to was actually their own stuff. Their own drone sounds and not just like somebody else's song slowed down to some ridiculously slow speed. For example, one of their quote-unquote songs called Part 10, The Heat Death, was actually just a really slowed down version of Dragon Forces Through the Fire and Flames. I chuckled when I heard that. Like, what? Through the Fire and Flames by Dragon Force. And you just slowed it down to make it 2.5 hours long and you changed the key on it. Like, what? Now, before I do start the Zelda 2 seed, remember that band I was talking about briefly earlier, Nano Cyborg Uber Holocaust? And how I brought up how one of their songs, if you could even call it that, was just a really slowed down version of Through the Fire and Flames? Because I decided to actually go and do the test myself. I downloaded their entire first album. I only wanted to get track 10, but I had to download the whole thing to get just track 10. So I downloaded it and opened it up with Audacity. That just about anybody can find Audacity. So I found the first album on their official website and downloaded it. It was about like 1.2 gigabytes in size, so it certainly took a bit of time to download. Hence why I was so hesitant on just downloading in the first place and was just more or less tempted to just take someone else's word for it that the heat death is just Through the Fire and Flames but slowed down to last 2.5 hours, but I decided to do the test anyways, and now I'm actually just having heat death imported into Audacity right now. Just so I can show you live that this is true. In case you actually heard me talking about this last time and just couldn't quite believe me, because I honestly kind of found it hard to believe in the first place anyways. Right, so you guys can see. I heard LMMS is pretty good for making music. Not just editing audio, but actually making real music. So this does go on for 2.5 hours. Just so you get a brief idea as to what you're listening to. This is typically what slowed down songs, slowed down this much, often end up sounding like. The backstory behind this supposed first album is that the two musicians traveled to the exact south pole of Antarctica to record this, and that with the temperature being like below minus 40 Celsius, of course it would have some sort of an impact on the recording. Okay, so I have my mouse over on change speed, and I just played around with this, and eventually I figured if I just multiplied the song speed by 20, because I remember that Through the Fire and Flames' length was about like 7 minutes, so I want to speed this up until the resulting song after the change speed was like 7 minutes. So would you believe it that Part 10, The Heat Death, actually is Dragon Forces Through the Fire and Flames? I couldn't have possibly made this up myself. It was just really loud, though. So that whole story about them traveling to the exact South Pole to record that album, that's probably just something made up by two guys who just want to have some fun, and they figured the best way to do that would just be make some ridiculous origin story and just slow down other people's songs and call it their own music.